that it's time for Tony Messenger, St. Louis Post-Dispatch columnist and contributor every Tuesday and Thursday here. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, McGraw. Good morning, Kelly. How's everybody doing?
We're doing good. So, I think you got another one of these where you're calling out malfeasance where it shouldn't be, and it all starts with a man or a person who likes to carve children's toys out of wood, which is always a good place to start. What's this story about this veterans home?
Yeah, so Sunday I wrote a column about the St. Louis Veterans Home, and there is a group of people, including Dory Polhowski. She's an 83-year-old woman from Kirkwood who's a volunteer, and Rick Stream, a name a lot of people will recognize, former state representative. He's currently the director of the election board, ran for county executive a couple of years ago. They have been talking over the last year to families at the St. Louis Veterans Home, meeting with the families, meeting with the staff, collecting their stories, recording their stories, and what they're finding is that veterans are complaining, particularly those in the Alzheimer's wing, that they aren't getting good care. The employees are agreeing with that. A lot of the employees are saying that the current director, Rolando Carter, is abusive and forces them to work too much overtime, that they are understaffed, that there is a real problem, that our veterans are not getting the care that they deserve. So that column ran Sunday, and last night at North Kirkwood Middle School, a lot of those families and employees, about 100 people total, filled the gymnasium and talked about their stories, and they are demanding that Governor Greitens, that Lieutenant Governor Mike Parson, that the Missouri Veterans Commission pay attention. They've been trying to get their attention for over a year, and now they're gathering and going public and saying, look, we tried to do this quietly, we tried to do this right, and they're taking direct aim not only at the director, Rolando Carter, but at the head of the Missouri Veterans Commission, at General Larry Kay and his staff. They want to see some people replaced, and they're demanding action by Governor Greitens, himself a veteran.
Rick Stream knows the way the system works. He's a Republican. He's been in state government for a while. He knows the levers to pull. He knows the people to call. Why couldn't he get it done?
Because there is a cover-up going on here, and nobody wants to admit that they've made a mistake. But there were just compelling stories, and I'm going to be writing about them later today. You'll be able to read it at stltoday.com or in the newspaper tomorrow morning. There are just compelling stories. A gentleman told a story of his father who was there for 1 month and died, in part because he was dehydrated and he wasn't getting the help that he needed to just get the fluids that he needed. He was there 1 month and he died. And had been in, otherwise, these are older people. They go to this veterans home. It's a nursing home for veterans. There is an expectation that a lot of them will eventually die there, but naturally, not unnaturally, not because they are being neglected, not because there isn't good care. There were stories last night of multiple situations in which they were provided the wrong medications. There were stories of family members who have power of attorney who were invited to come to the residence council. There's a residence council that meets to discuss these sorts of things, and the director actually called the police on one woman and had her removed from the meeting. And she's got full power of attorney over her father, and was invited by the veterans to be there to advocate for her father. She was removed from the building by police. There's a lot going on here, and what appears to be happening is that the fairly well-paid state bureaucrats who work for the Missouri Veterans Commission, particularly General Larry Kay, who, by the way, lost a multi-million-dollar sexual harassment lawsuit a year ago, they're doing everything they can to hold on to their jobs. They're the fox guarding the hen house, and they're trying to say, basically, there's nothing going on here.
Tony, you mentioned this one veterans home in North it's North County, I believe, but there are
Yeah.
7 of these veteran homes around Missouri. Are these allegations with the one home in North County, or is this all part of the 7 homes throughout the state?
These are allegations about the one home in St. Louis. It's the largest of the 7 veterans homes in the state. Many of the veterans there are from the St. Louis region. When veterans apply to go to one of these homes, they don't necessarily get their first choice, but most of them apply to live in a home near where they have family so that they'll have visitors.
Right.
So a lot of the men who are staying in the St. Louis Veterans Home in North County, it's up off of Lewis and Clark near 270, they have family here. And last night, a lot of those family had stories to tell. They're angry, they're frustrated, they're worried about their loved ones, and they're taking a risk. They're taking a risk because they believe that the director punishes both employees and families and the veterans who rise up and complain. And yet they're lots of them putting their names on these complaints and begging Governor Greitens to do something about it.
Your column points out that the VA came in and conducted a survey of the home and said it was in complete compliance.
Yeah, there's 2 things about that survey that are bothersome. First of all, employees testified last night that they knew about that survey 2 weeks in advance, and so it was not a surprise visit like you get in a lot of these things. It was a survey in which the director was given 2 weeks to prepare,
right,
and make the place look good. In fact, I was told that before my visit last Friday, he did the same thing. There were employees. I visited the facility last Friday to interview Mr. Carter, and employees last night at the public meeting said that before I got there, there was a call that went out to all employees to get everything cleaned up. There were employees stationed with walkie-talkies throughout the building to alert when I was coming down the hall, so that they would, look like they were active and doing things. I mean, that's what the employees told me last night. I didn't know this when I was there last Friday, but if that's what happened before the inspection, then I would sure raise questions about that inspection, and I'm now going to, given this new information from the employees. But the one thing that bugged me about the inspection when I saw it, because I've read a lot of nursing home inspections over the years, is it was perfect. I've never seen a perfect inspection of a nursing home.
Right.
Caring for senior citizens is a really difficult job, and even the facilities that do it the best occasionally have things that they have to work on. And this one was perfect. There was nothing wrong with it. It looks to me like more of a cover-up survey than an actual look at what's happening at that facility.
Tony Messenger, we can't wait for your next columns the next couple of days here. We'll look forward to stltoday.com, and then you can come back and talk about it on Thursday.
You got it.
Thanks.